Hi Heather, here's your crochet lesson number 1. And this is your yarn. I use 4-ply yarn, and that's what you should practice with. And it's important to start your yarn the right way. And you always find this tail going around your yarn. You don't use that part of your yarn. You reach in and you grab, I call it the nest, and you pull that out. And that's where you're going to use your yarn, from the middle of the skein. And I always, when I started crocheting, I used a lighter color yarn, because if you use black or a dark color, it's hard to see your stitches. And this is an H hook. The bigger the hook, the larger your stitches. So I'm going to use H. And how I start crocheting is I make my slip knot. And to do that, I put the yarn over my pointer finger, I cross it, and I pull it off, so I have this little circle with an X. And then this is the part that goes to the skein of the yarn, and I push a little piece through, and then I pull it, and you have a slip knot. Then I put my crochet hook in, and then I tighten it on the hook. And when it comes to crocheting, you need tension. And this is personal preference on how you put your yarn around your fingers. The way I do it is I wrap it, and then I wrap it around a couple fingers or my whole hand, it just depends. And then I lift up my pointer finger, and I have this great tension right here. And then I grab the tail of the yarn, but see how tight that is? And some people crochet loose, and some people crochet tight. I crochet tight. And I want to make a chain. So I have my hook in my little slip knot, and then I'm going to count 10 chains. So yarn over, pull through the hook, pull through the loop, that's 1. Yarn over the hook, pull through, and that's 2. So I'm going to do this 10 times. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And see how my chains are nice and even, and they're pretty tight, but not, so tight that you can't see the chains. And then I want to start another row. And when you go up a row, you have to always chain 1 and then turn. So I'm going to chain 1, well, not turn, but bring your hook up. And then I'm going to go 10 across, but this is where it gets kind of tricky, because you don't know where to stick your crochet, what loop. So sometimes I'll count from the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I know I have to start on this one. But after a while, you don't have to count, you just know. So I'm going to do a single crochet. And when I do a single crochet, I want to stick my hook in this chain, and then I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to yarn over and go through both of the loops on my hook. So that's 1, and we're going to do this 10 times. And so then I find the next chain. You can kind of see the little hole right there, and you don't want to go through the one that you just did. You want to go through the next one. So hook in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. And that's my second single crochet, and I'm going to do this 10 times. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then here's number 10. That's the last one. And sometimes the end one can be kind of goofy because maybe that chain got pulled tight, or it might look like 2 chains. So it's kind of important to count. So we got 10. Now I want to start a second row. So this is where we turn the work. So I chain 1, and then I turn the work, and there's the back side. And this is where, you know, it doesn't look the same as the front side, so you got to kind of look and see the chains, the single crochets that you just did. So now when I single crochet, I don't want to go through just one loop. See, that's just one loop. I want to go make sure my hook is under the chain. So let me reorientate. And so here's where I go under, yarn over, then I'm going to pull through both loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and see, this is what I was talking about. See, this doesn't even look like a stitch anymore, but you know you have to have another stitch because we're doing 10 stitches. So I'm gonna make sure I find that little spot right there, and I'm gonna add a single crochet. You really can't do crocheting without counting. And there's 10. So to make another row, I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to turn my work, but now we can see the stitches really well because this is the front side. So again, if you can't remember what stitch to go into, you can count backwards so you can figure it out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's telling me I have to go into this stitch right here. So put the hook through, yarn over, pull up the loop, and yarn through both of the loops that are on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then again here's that goofy stitch where you can't really tell it's a stitch. 9 and 10. Do a chain and then turn your work, and if you have to, count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But it's usually always right by your hook, that beginning one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But see how nice and even the ends are looking? They're not tapering in or tapering out. I know I've gotten all my stitches, and that's why it's important to count. So chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to start in this stitch right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and number 10. Sometimes my stitches get too tight, but that's a single crochet. And you can make a lot of these swatches just for practice. That's what I did when I started out. And then to save on yarn, I never saved them. I just pulled them out. But the number one thing you want to do is practice making a chain. And that is your little slip knot. Because it's the tension that causes the most problems when you first start to crochet, because if you crochet too loose, you're going to have a goofy chain. So just practice. I used to make these all the time, and see, I bring my finger up and I like to hold it close to the chain. And you can just make these chains, make them as long as you want, because you're not going to waste any yarn, because you can just pull it out. And then once you get comfortable with the chains, and that's when you can start doing, a single crochets across. But always remember, when you're going to make a row, you have to chain 1, and then you don't count that chain 1 as your first stitch, but you go into the next stitch. And then just practice single crocheting across, but always count, and just to make it simpler, use an even number like 10 or something like that. Don't use a goofy number like 7. And then just go across and make some swatches that way. And that is your first crochet lesson. I hope this helped.